welcome to this exclusive Lucidya event. We'll be looking at the shift from reactive customer experience to autonomous AI agents, particularly automating resolution, how to get customer experience right at scale and at lower cost. Customer experience, of course, is entering a new phase of its transformation journey. For years, organizations have optimized for reactive support, responding to tickets, managing SLAs, deflecting FAQs, and routing conversations across multiple systems, even with conversational AI. Most enterprises still rely on human intervention to complete the operational work behind the interaction. But as support volumes increase and customer expectations accelerate, these reactive models are becoming harder to sustain, and the stakes are high. According to the latest research, 79% of consumers would switch to a different company if they found out it had a better customer experience. And only 2 negative experiences could lead to that brand abandonment. The challenge is no longer about responding faster. It's about enabling systems that can fully resolve issues while maintaining oversight, accountability, and control. How? Well, that is what we're here to discuss with our experts, and more on them in just a few moments. But first, a bit of housekeeping. Here are our top tips to help you make the most of this virtual event experience. This isn't just another online session. It's a place to connect, collaborate, and be part of something truly exciting. Seeing you, our amazing audience, makes all the difference for our speakers. Maximizing the Zoom window and choosing speaker view will provide the best viewing experience. Our events really shine when you get involved, so don't be shy. Jump into the chat and join the conversation. And remember, our friendly producers are always standing by if you need a hand with anything. So sit back, get ready, and let's make this an unforgettable experience together. It is that easy to engage with us. Please do get involved. It's a much richer experience, I promise, if you do. Ask any questions you may have during the summit via the chat function down there. We will be watching and we'll make sure all your questions are answered here and now during the sessions or via email after the event if we should run out of time. So let's get started. What does customer experience look like when AI advances from conversation to execution? What does governed resolution truly mean when AI agents operate within CRM, billing, and operational systems? How do organizations balance autonomy with policies, approvals, and the guardrails needed to protect financial and reputational risks? And as AI starts closing cases end to end, how should leaders evaluate containment rates, cost to serve reductions, and the operational models necessary to scale safely? Our expert panel: Abdullah Asiri, founder and CEO of Lucidya; Kaiser Khan, its Director of AI; Zoya Shahid, Director of Customer Experience with Viola Communications; and John George, Assistant Vice President for Business Excellence and Customer Experience Transformation at Damac Properties. We'll be here to explore the shift from AI that responds to AI that executes. We'll be asking for your opinions, and after each session, our experts will be answering your questions. And we'll meet them all after we set our scene. How can organizations safely move from reactive service management to policy-controlled AI execution? That's a question we'll put to Lucidya's founder and CEO, Abdullah Asiri. But first, let's ask you something. Where is your biggest bottleneck today? You should see a poll on your screen now. Please do take part. In your current customer operations, what causes the most delay in resolving customer cases? Is it A, too many handoffs between teams, support, billing, operations, etc.? Is it B, a lack of access or permissions to take actions in systems, CRM, ERP, billing, blah, blah, blah? Is it C, policy and approval complexity, refund thresholds, exceptions, compliance? D, high volume of repetitive requests, status, simple changes, FAQs? Or E, data and context gaps, missing history, inconsistent records? So which of those, A, B, C, D, or E, is most relevant to you? And we'll close that poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you very much, Steve, for taking part. I hope all of you did take part. And we'll look at the results from that poll with Lucidya's founder and CEO, Abdullah Asiri. Hello, Abdullah.
You guys hear me very well? I'm so happy to
Yes,
be
we can
here.
hear you
And
perfectly well. Hey, Abdullah,
yeah,
how are you?
yeah, good, good. How are you? How's everything?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Really good. Should we have a quick look at those poll results before you get involved?
Yes,
So we're just
yeah.
going to get those poll results up, build them up, and let you have a little look at them. What do you think, Abdullah? Where do you think people are going to be voting?
I think data readiness. I think because when you start to engage autonomous AI or start to use AI, the most important part is to have a very reliable system that you follow the proper governance, and to be able to do that, you have to be ready from different angles, especially with data. But let's see the results.
Fair, perfect. Let's have a little look at the results, shall we? There we go. So, results are. I'll just wait for them to appear on the screen. There we go. In your current customer operations, what causes the most delay in resolving customer cases? So 17%, 17%, 70%, lack of access or permissions, policy and approval complexity, high volume of repetitive requests, 25%, data and context gaps, 25%, too many handoffs between teams. Just what you said, Abdullah, what you're expecting?
Yeah. So data is a very important part, because usually companies are moving very fast, and sometimes they lose context when they move very fast in terms of building these AI solutions. But also the handoff is very important and very interesting one, because we do see that we see a lot of issues are not being resolved because systems are not yet connected together. There are a lot of silos, which causes problems and issues to be stuck somewhere. So expected results.
Fantastic stuff. Well, look, I'll get out your way, let you bring up your slides, and let you get on with it. Please do remember, any questions for Abdullah Absira, put them in the chat and we'll get them answered as soon as we can. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, Abdullah Asiri.
All right, thank you so much, Adam, and good morning or good afternoon to everyone joining this call. I'm really in luck to be here. Because I'm surrounded with amazing people. I love to actually talk and hang out with the CX people, because those people are responsible about making other people happy, right? To basically improve experiences and to make other people happy and to have satisfied experiences. My name is Abdullah Asiri. I'm the founder and CEO of Lucidya. We build AI agents for customer experiences, but even though we are a tech company and I'm a tech guy and we love technology very much, but I'm not here to talk about technology. I'm here to talk about CX. And when I talk about CX, I want to talk about the most important element in the whole CX organization, which is resolution. And because if you have great resolution, if you actually, resolve issues and you have great resolution, then you'll have great NPS, then you'll have great CSAT, then you'll have great retention, then you'll have great ROI in whatever you're doing. This is the most important item in CX. And today, my focus is to talk about resolution, and to talk about the ability, the idea of automating resolution. Because if you automate resolution, then you are automating your customer satisfaction, then you're automating your NPS. Basically, you're automating achieving your KPIs and targets when you do automate resolution. So this is the focus of today's talk. I should be using the clicker, and I want to see if it's moving. All right. So today, basically, when we talk about CX, we see that 68% of CX leaders, they say their AI investment basically do not reduce human workload. And for me, this is not shocking. And the reason it's not shocking because if you look at this stats, the problem is that they are investing in the past. Investing in AI technologies will actually lead into not reducing human workload, because what would do that is investing in the future, which is agentic AI. So, and this is the reason why basically these leaders are seeing it, the investment's not paying off. And so again, if we talk about customer experiences and we talk about resolution, we talk about 3 different phases for resolution. We talk about the first one, which basically started pre-2020, which is the reactive support. These are basically resolutions are being handled by chatbots. rule-based chatbots. They are not really trained on any data and not using AI for resolutions. And then things changed in 2020, 2024, with the introduction of an advancement in AI, especially in NLP, where we started to see AI chatbots and virtual agents. And those basically chatbots are there to not fully resolve, not fully automate resolution and resolve issues from end to end, basically. But what they do is they automate conversations. And when you automate conversation, that's something, but when you automate resolution, that's something else. And then the third basically era, which is the era we are at right now, which is basically autonomous AI agents. And this is where actually things gets more exciting and more interesting, more serious. This is where you are able to automate end-to-end full resolutions. And this is where we're going to be talking about. So when we talk about autonomous resolution, what does autonomous resolution really mean? So when we say that something is resolved autonomously, completely, we say about end-to-end resolution. We are talking about a resolution that is context-aware, a resolution and a system that can go beyond silos, that can connect with different parts of the ecosystem. So basically, not only solving problem, and when it comes to customer service, but also it can jump to finance, can jump to billing, can jump operation to have an end-to-end basically execution. An automated resolution also is a resolution that is governed. And this is a very important point that we're going to be talking more about because it's great that you have autonomy. It's great that you have automated resolution, but you also want to make sure that everything you do is governed. When we say governance, we say policy guardrails, we say full auditability, we say data compliance. So this what governs basically autonomous resolution. Now, let's take an example just to see the differences between automated conversation, which is what's happening today with AI chatbots, with other regular chatbots, and when you apply and we deploy real autonomous AI agent, and this is the agentic basically capability. So on the left side, before on the React model, which is the AI chatbots, you would see that a customer would actually be submitting a ticket through whatever channel, and then that ticket basically the system, because it handles only conversation, there are a lot of cases that cannot be handled by the chatbot. Then it will be escalated or handed over to an agent. That's step number 3, and then the agent escalated that to another human agent or to the billing team. Billing team might also engage in certain approval process. At the end of the day, one billing dispute ends up touching 3 or 4 different people. You see loss of context between the handoff between those people. Average resolution time for those systems and those ways, those mechanisms are 3 to 5 days. You are wasting time. You're wasting effort. You're leaving the customer frustrated to wait 3 to 5 days. Now, with autonomous AI agents, the same case would happen. What's going to happen is customer would describe the issue in any channel, because again, it's going to be omni-channel. And then the AI agent start to read the account history and policy rules as well. And also automatically start to connect to the CRM system and DRP and start basically to handle the case, to start to basically to hit the right basically system to update the dispute. And then it reads the refund policy and billing dispute policy. And based on that, it approves the resolution and then close the case. In this way, we're talking about under 3 minutes of resolution, and we're talking about 0 human people involved. I mean, in this case, because this way, the customer will get his requests done very, very fast. And this is scalable. This it doesn't waste time, it doesn't waste money, and at the end of the day, the customer is fully satisfied. And we all here because we are running businesses, and I'm sure you guys love numbers. I do love numbers very well, so this is one of my favorite slides. So what is the business impact? So if we do apply this amazing autonomous technology on our businesses and organizations, what does that look like in terms of ROI on these investments, right? Because we don't want to invest in cool technologies. We want to invest in technologies that actually touches the P&L of the company, touches the bottom line for the company. And when we see these things in action, these autonomous AI agents in action, we see 40 to 60% reduction in cost to serve. So what I mean is that the cost to serve a customer for an organization, if they apply agentic AI, the cost to serve any customer will be reduced 40 to 60%. So almost half. And this is based on Gartner, and this is also based on what we've seen in the market. Another great benefit for these autonomous systems is basically how much containment rate. So they handle up to 80, actually the average is 85% of cases, versus if you compare that to chatbots, you would see that's around 40% to 45%. So most of the cases they handle end to end. And last is ROI. We are seeing ranges between 3 to 8x ROI within 18 months across deployment, which means that if you pay for this tool $100,000, for example, you will get savings worth of $300,000 to $800,000 in 18 months. And this chart down there, it shows you even another view from this for operational kind of ROI and benefits. If you look at the light blue bar chart is the reactive model, which is the AI chatbots or regular chatbots. And the purple one is the autonomous AI agent. If you compare them in terms of the performance, you see the first contact resolution for the autonomous AI agent, as we mentioned, is around 85% versus 40% for the chatbot. But the average handle time for which is the full resolution for the whole thing, for the autonomous AI agents are actually around 3 minutes compared to 18 minutes. So this is around 4x improvements in the average handle time, which translates to NPS, better NPS, translates to better CSAT, translates to better retention. Also escalation rates, 8% only for autonomous, but for chatbots and other systems are around 35%. And then also that would leave an improvement in CSAT as well. And on CSAT, if you notice, it's around 88% for the autonomous AI agent, because at the end of the day, customers, they don't really care who they talk to. They really don't want to talk to to human agent. They don't need to talk to human agent. They want their issues to be resolved fast, with accuracy and with empathy. And AI agents are built to do these kind of things. So, and this is actually not theoretical. This is why we made sure to share a real case study from one of our customers who've been using Lucidya AI agent for quite some time now. They are in the insurance industry, so it's a very highly regulated industry. They cannot really mess with these kind of things. So they had a challenge of basically treating high inbound volume of cases. And this is what we did. Our agent scope was to handle inbound case resolution from end to end, to do automated follow-ups, to be governed by the policy of the insurance company and the regulator in Saudi Arabia, and to have a cross-system action. This was basically the scope. And 6 months in, or 7 months in, the average containment rate for that customer was 85% through our AI agent. More than 3,000 cases fully resolved by the AI agent. The labor cost in these 5 months periods is around $70,000. So if you annualize that, is more than $140,000. And basically, this is in the 5 months. And deployment was a record deployment of around 3 months when we actually spent time to deploy this AI agent. So this is not theoretical. And this is happening in this case study in one of the most regulated industries. So that brings us actually to the second point, is because the first question we are asked when we talk to CX leaders is basically, I want to invest in AI, but I'm scared. I don't want to be in trouble, because if I double down on autonomy, for example, and I go with AI agents, then if things goes off the rail, and I'm the one to blame, I'm the one reliable, and this is valid. very valid concern that we support as well. That's why we say, and in our Lucidya system as well, governance is the product that we give. Lucidya have been in the market for 10 years now. We've dealt with the biggest banks in the region, the biggest government customers, the biggest telecoms, the biggest insurance. So we know governance very well. So this is why governance is inside the product, and it should be inside. It should be the product itself, because we always say autonomy without guardrails is liability. And so to understand governance very well and to make sure that you're comfortable with agentic solutions, allow me just to, even though I told you guys I'm not going to be talk about tech, but just a little bit, just so you guys understand what autonomy means, so you guys be more comfortable to deal with these AI systems. You need to understand there is a spectrum of autonomy. Assisted, which is what you see today in some of basically Copilot that gives you recommendation and analysis, and there is automated, and this is the chatbots where you give it a workflow, defined workflow, and then it goes through the workflow only. And then there's stage 3, which is supervised autonomous. So that's when AI starts to go, figure out things, resolve things without following certain path. That's supervised autonomy. And then there's the full autonomy, which is basically solving it end to end without any approval gates, without any human in the loop. So that's full autonomy. So these are the 4 stages. Most enterprises today, unfortunately, they are the stage 1 or 2. They rely on AI for assisted kind of decisions and for automated only. The target for successful organizations is to move to stage 3 and stage 4. And when you move to stage 3 and stage 4, our advice always, and this is what you should do, is you go for autonomy, but you have to be governed. And 3 things you have to make sure that they are there to be governed. The first one is policy guardrails. Take this very seriously. These are the guardrails that you put around the AI agent, so it doesn't hallucinate, it doesn't take any action from its mind. So that's the first thing that you should do before you go to stage 3 and 4. Second thing is human in the loop. Work with systems that are designed with human in the loop whenever needed, because there are some certain actions that are very sensitive. And to start, you need to have that trust with AI agents. So you will start with many gates. You'll start to have many human in the loop just to approve as a review, and then you're going to take them off as you move to stage 4. But that is very important to start with. And the last thing is full decision audit trail. What that means for non-technical people is that when you go to autonomous, make sure that your AI agent can actually shows you how they made the decision. What are the reasoning? What were their thoughts? What kind of policies they read exactly? This is very important for you first to improve, and also basically to remove any liability from your side and to make sure that your system is fully governed, because when anything happens, you want to make sure that you follow the trail. Now, maybe the question is how these things happen. You hear me saying autonomous AI agent, agentic AI, and maybe some people, they get an idea that this is a 2 years project. It's not. It's not a 2 years project. It's very straightforward project. We've been doing this for quite some time. The technology now is ready, and the phases are very simple. The first one is the foundation. This is where basically we come in and we try to understand your current processes and systems, and we jointly pick the 1 or 2 use cases that are low risk but high impact. And we start only with those use cases so you feel comfortable. So you can actually go and present this case to your upper management, so you can get more budget, or you can actually get the green light to do more. So we pick these low-hanging fruit, and then we build the system for you. We connect it to your other systems, and then we move. Basically, we launch the AI agent, and we will start talk to your customers. But that would be in phase 2, which is the supervised pilot. So that is the pilot. We launch it. We keep very close eye ourselves, our AI engineers who are the top in the whole Middle East. They will be with you to monitor everything, to make sure that everything is in well, and with a very big kill switch if anything goes wrong. And then whenever we feel comfortable, we start to move some of these approvals or gates to allow more autonomy for the AI agent. And then after we're comfortable, we start to go to full autonomy, which is removing more of the gates. We start to add more case studies, our use cases. And then from operation readiness, you don't need to do anything. It's our job to do everything. Some organizations, they're afraid that they are not ready in terms of data or policies. Or this is our job. We come in and it's exactly just like onboarding a new employee. Because if you think about it, it's a digital workforce. So if you have the ability to onboard new employees, you can onboard our AI agent. We go with you, we understand everything with you, and we give you basically recommendation in terms of organizational change management plan. That's on our side because it's a business transformation. We give you AI governance framework in place. We help you with that. We help you with compliance. So we do all this consulting work and you build for you with the forward deployment AI engineers that sits in your company to learn and to build for you. And then we deploy in different modules. The fastest one is SaaS, which we use. And then we have an ability to do on-prem for the highly regulated industries. And then I have an approach for the complex enterprises stack. Now, if there's things that I want to leave you guys with to talk to your team about these actually items, the first one is, remember one thing. Are you investing in the past or in the future? If you're still investing in AI, then you're investing in the past. Then you'll be one of the 68% of the CX leaders who are not satisfied with their AI investment because they said it does not reduce the workload on human. So you should make sure that you invest in the future. Investing in the future means investing in autonomous, agentic AI, not only AI. So that's the first thing you do. You audit your current AI. Is it resolution based? Does it automate full resolution end to end, not only answering questions, going beyond one system to other system? And when I say full resolution end, I don't mean that from you as a customer support or customer experience side, if we handle this situation. No, from the customer point of view, is the customer's issue handled? Whether it's complicated, not complicated across different departments. So that's the first thing you should ask yourself. How many of these customers' requests and issues are fully resolved end to end? So that's the first one. And then you start to think about AI governance. And this is, again, it's our job. Maybe you ask yourself, if we don't have an answer, if you would love to know more, this is why we exist. We help you with this, with AI governance and policy guardrails. And then prioritizing cross-functional or cross-system integrations as a strategic infrastructure investment. And this is important because every organization, they should have a plan for cross-system integration. Not only for CX use cases, for any other use cases. Because as you guys know, or might know, or you'll see in the future, agentic AI is the future of how organization will be run. We are focusing on the customer experience side of AI agent, but there will be AI agent for finance and there will be AI agent for project management and all. So systems eventually will need to be integrated, whether for CX or not. So this is a strategic infrastructure investment. And this is something that companies should do regardless. And this is also something that we can help with. And then basically we're going to be working with you to define a 6 months path for how the supervised pilots will look like. And then how that will go toward full autonomous resolution. And actually, the leaders who actually move from conversational AI to autonomous in the next 18 months will see lower cost to serve. We'll see definitely a 4x improvement of the average handle time and the increase in all the KPIs. So the question is, you are investing today, but are you really investing in the past or in the future? You cannot expect the future promises while investing in the past. And now I would love to hear any questions from the audience. Back to you, Adam.
Thank you very much indeed, Abdullah. Much appreciated. We do have some questions here, so let me just get my little chat box open so I can see what was in the chat. Okay, so we have a question. How can we be sure that LLMs are reliable enough to allow agents to reason and make decisions by themselves?
That's a great question, because it goes down to, again, to the core of these autonomous systems, which is governance and guardrails. So you cannot make sure that if the LLM is thinking in the right way or wrong way. You should not actually trust LLMs fully. What you should do is you should put guardrails, systems in place to check, basically, first to make sure that they don't go off guardrails, so they go off the trail, but also that the very sensitive, high-stake decisions, even with guardrails, you should put human in the loop in terms of approvals. So this is the way that you should deal with things.
And what are the most sort of, I guess, the kind of most common sort of organizational pushbacks against this, Abdullah, that you hear, and how do you recommend people to kind of surmount those obstacles?
Obstacles in terms of applying guardrails, or like in which way?
No, I guess I think what I'm talking about really is the organizational pushback against kind of handing over control to agents.
Yeah, it's the pushback basically is they don't understand how these systems work, how these systems think. That's one thing. Another thing is they are scared of the data leaks from data breaches, because, again, and this is a very important point, because many organizations, they try to pilot with these systems, and this is the wrong way to do it. To pilot it in-house, they have a few data geeks within the company, and they wanted to build internal systems, so they start to touch these sensitive data, and this is dangerous. So they have a pushback in terms of being, afraid from data leaks and data, and this is why these data should be only touched by reliable partners, that they understand governance, that they understand basically how to control these data and how to make sure that it's safe.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. And we have one more very quickly in the chat, and then we'll go to our panel. How can we avoid the LLM showing up with responses it should not give? Is that back to the guardrails?
Guardrails, 100%. And this is why today unfortunately we are seeing some bad examples of bad implementation of agentic AI in different systems. And I just want to be clear of one thing also. When we say investing in agentic AI, is not only putting LLM to talk to customers. This is not agentic. This is still conversational AI. Is not agentic. Agentic is when the system itself, it can think and it can action based on what it does. So it's not only the discussion. So again, it's guardrails, proper guardrails, making sure that the context that provided to the agent is very updated, is very narrow, and basically dealing with trusted partners that they have done this before, they built this before, they know the tricks how to do this.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you very much indeed, Abdullah. Much appreciated. Thank you for getting us on our way, and certainly giving us a really good kind of directional steer. We will see you again in a moment at our panel discussion. But before that, let's find out what you, the audience, think now. Now we've heard that. What level of autonomy would you allow first? And you should see that poll on your screen now. So, if you were deploying an AI agent this quarter, what is the first autonomy level you would feel comfortable with? Is it A, assist only, draft responses, and then humans execute actions? Is it B, execute low-risk actions under strict policy limits with no approvals? Is it C, execute with approvals for sensitive actions, i.e. supervised autonomy? D, full autonomy for eligible journeys with exception escalation? Or E, we are not comfortable with the execution of this yet? Have a think and do choose one. Thank you very much indeed for taking part. So we'll have a little look at those, shall we, again? The question is, how comfortable are you? A, not comfortable with execution yet. D, full autonomy for eligible journeys with exception escalation. Then we're going to go up to C. C, execute with approvals for sensitive actions, i.e. supervised. B, execute low-risk actions under strict policy limits, or A, assist only. So thank you very much indeed to everybody who has filled in that poll. I hope you all did. We are going to have a look at those poll results with our panel. So let's move on to introducing them, shall we? The next stage of customer experience transformation involves moving from AI that responds to AI that executes, addressing customer needs across systems such as CRM, billing, and commerce environments. But this introduces new challenges in governance, control, and risk, especially when AI makes decisions that directly affect customers and revenue. To discuss how you can solve those challenges and why you need to, we welcome Abdullah Asiri, founder and CEO of Lucidya, Kaiser Khan, its Director of AI, Zoya Shahid, Director of Customer Experience with Viola Communications, and John George, Assistant Vice President for Business Excellence and Customer Experience Transformation at Damac Properties. And do remember, any questions from our panel, put them in the chat and we'll get them answered. Hello, panel.
Hello again.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, Abdullah again. Hi, I hope you're all well. Thank you very much indeed for joining. Look, let's get straight into the question show. We're going to kind of walk through a number of things, but I think I'd like to start off again, Abdullah, with you. And if we begin with strategy and vision, the market is saturated with AI tools that promise transformation, but deliver only incremental improvements. What makes autonomous AI agents a fundamentally distinct category, Abdullah, and why is now the ideal time for enterprises to embrace this shift?
Yeah, sure. The reason basically is because all these AI investments today is happening around AI tools that focuses on automating conversation. And automating conversation is only part of automating the whole resolution. And there are only a few, like maybe at 30 to 40% of the inquiries and talks about and conversation with customers can be resolved by only conversation and only answering questions. Customers need to be able to do actions. They need to be able to resolve the conflict or the disputes or whatever that is. So basically, this is the reason. This is the reason why.
Fantastic, thank you, Steve. And if we now move on, Abdullah, to kind of a business impact, maybe an ROI. You shared impressive figures such as 85% containment, 40 to 60% cost to serve reduction, 7x ROI. For leaders considering a deployment, what does maybe a realistic first 90 days look like? And what should they measure to determine if it is successful?
Yeah, so let's all agree that's it's not a silver bullet. It's cannot solve everything from day one. Nonetheless, it's not a 2 years project. It's think of it as like onboarding a new employee in the company, a very smart employee in the company. They will need time to basically to understand and know the systems and how things work, and they will start to see the results gradually. So in the first 3 months, assuming these 3 months are after deployment, you'll see definitely above 50%. Definitely depends first of the use cases that the AI agent handles, but assuming it has access to all use cases, for sure more than 50% in the first 1 or 2 months, and then it will start to gradually reach to 70 to 80%. The 90% that we've seen in this insurance company, it came after actually 5 months of deployment. So result can be very fast, but all depends on the customer side readiness, and it depends on the appetite basically for giving to the AI agent at more autonomy and cases, and for basically how they're involved with learning this AI agent.
Fantastic. So thank you very much, Steve. And Kaiser, if we consider then the sort of technical and governance perspective, when an AI agent carries out actions within CRM, billing, ERP systems, such as refunds, cancellations, and account changes, what does the governance framework look like in practice, I suppose, Kaiser? And how do you guarantee the agent never operates outside those defined boundaries?
Yeah, so it's the key question right now. So trust and governance is the differentiator amongst these AI agent platforms. What we see and in industry internally, and also when I speak with leaders who are actually building these agentic platforms, we probably spend 70% of our time actually on the governance and the trust side, because the cost of building a agentic platform has reduced with agent coding, etc. So But in order to answer that, really, we need to go back into what makes an AI agent agentic, and that's the ability, as Abdullah mentioned, to perform actions and to resolve the customer complaint end to end. It's moving beyond the kind of the conversation, and that presents a challenge when it comes to governance, because how do you keep a system that's designed to be open and put guardrails around it so that it's safe? You still want to give the AI agent the flexibility, but you want to put guardrails around it. And so guardrails have been mentioned, and actually the governance has been mentioned quite a bit. But really, it's multi-layered. It's not a silver bullet. There's basic things like making sure that no private information leaks from your system. So having checks in place when you're going into the LLM, and when the LLM is processing a message, making sure that no PII is reaching that LLM, and the PII that is only reaching the systems that it needs to. For example, internal systems. It's making sure that the scope that you have defined for your AI agent is understood. So, for example, if you're building an AI agent for, let's say, customer service, and it's for billing and refunds, if the user asks a question about product recommendations, how do you handle that? You make sure that the AI agent is trained in a way that it can gracefully reject that, and move the customer back into its scope. And the key one there you mentioned, Adam, is access. So accessing all of these external tools, and as Abdullah mentioned, an AI agent isn't just an LLM. It's a whole orchestration between an LLM and tools. And so we have to separate the brain, which is the LLM, from the tools. So the tools are programmatic. They expect a clear input and a clear output. And so therefore you can easily control them. Whereas with an LLM, you want it to be open. So you're using the strength of heuristics with the strength of the brain. I'll give a really good example for this that we've actually seen at Lucidya, where a customer has wanted the AI agent to process the refunds, right? And we heavily suggested that this is not the task for the LLM, right? Within the AI agent, the LLM should not be doing this, because by definition, the AI LLM, it's not random, but it's not deterministic. So instead, what we did was we took their current refund process and understood it, and it's a decision tree, right? It's if you've ordered within 3 days, if there's a defect in the product. So this is what a human agent would use. They would use this decision tree to make a yes/no decision. You essentially allow the LLM to input into that same tool, and the tool outputs yes and no, and the LLM uses the yes and no answer. So you separate the responsibility. And I think this is where a lot of in the industry, as an industry, we've learned a lot to optimize to this solution. At the start, people were using the LLMs for everything, and mistakes were made. So we've settled on this, and hopefully this is clear. And just one more point. I know I've spoken a bit, but I really want to highlight this point, which is something we called evals. This is really crucial for us, right? When we're speaking with our customers, giving our customers the confidence that before we release an AI agent, that it's working as expected. And how do we do this? The gold standard way is simulations, running number of simulations, could be hundreds, it could be thousands. And with these simulations, you have an input and you have an expected output. Then you run your AI agent against all the inputs, and then you have the expected output with what the AI agent actually did. So you can compare. And with this, you can get a confidence score. So this is really powerful. So with this confidence score, it gives our customers the confidence that the AI agent is working as expected. It also gives us an opportunity to improve, because we can see, for example, maybe in billing address, workflow, we're doing very well. Maybe for something like updating payment details, we're not doing as well, and we can improve there. So those evals, we always introduce them before we release, but also as they're actually a continuous process. So as Abdullah mentioned, observability and monitoring, it's continuous, it never stops. And it's not just for, it's monitoring how the AI agent is essentially performing across time. So making sure that nothing degrades. But actually it's very useful, because suppose you've updated, let's say, a policy document or a process, that actually has an impact on the AI agent. We need to make sure that the AI agent has also reflected those changes correctly. So that's kind of some of the insight that we can give you in terms of how we deal with governance. And you can tell from my answer that we take it very seriously. So I'd love to expand and talk more about this.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you, Kaiser. Now let's have a quick look, shall we, at that poll that we asked you before we started our panel. Let's just put the results up now, and then we'll put this to our panel and get their reflections. So we asked you, if you were deploying an AI agent this quarter, what is the first autonomy level you would feel comfortable with? Now, 0% full autonomy for eligible journeys with exception escalation. 5% not comfortable with execution yet, fair enough. 15% execute with approvals for sensitive actions. 30% execute low risk actions under strict policy limits. And 50% assist only. Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed, everybody that took part in the poll. It's very much appreciated. Zoya, let's turn to you, Zoya, if we may. Where would you sit on that, and what's the journey like to get from A to E?
So I think pretty much agree when we look at patterns of how people are adopting. I think this is something that I anticipated for the response to be looking like, because this is the response that we generally get when we're talking about implementation, right? And there's a reason for it. I think a very clear reason being is one, you're implementing this for humans. Even the businesses that are being run are humans. They have human fears. They have psychological fears. And yes, governance is a very layered, structured part of a business, but it is run and governed by people. So you will get legal teams coming in and governing teams coming in and asking you very human questions. Who's going to be accountable if, God forbid, one time this wrong email goes out? And then you're also implementing this for humans, right? You're not implementing this for somebody who's robotic, who can have a bad day. You could have a response that is very different from what the AI has been trained to respond back to. So it's nothing but natural for people to feel that, I don't want to give complete autonomy. And I think when we start any conversation, I think it's very important to acknowledge that. To have the right partners in place to have that conversation is very critical, right? When you go in and you're talking to somebody in legal and you're talking to somebody in finance, but you're also talking to somebody in marketing, customer support who's drowning, there has to be common ground found. And I think that's something that really helps the cause for consultants to come in who understand where agentics need to be placed and where human intervention is required. So I think one of the largest things that you need to do is take that worry away from your people that this AI solution is going to replace me, and make them AI supervisors, which is so critical and so missed. I don't know as Gentech AI what your business systems are, and if you're going to have a last minute change. Let's talk about fashion, for instance. You have a launch for campaigns every month, and agentic needs to be trained every month. But somebody in your business would understand this off the go because they've been doing it for 20 years, right? You need to make this person the supervisor to come in and say, these are the checks that need to get updated. And then ensure that those updates are being implemented. So yes, when you say that agentic, you don't want them to make any critical decisions, it's a fair ask. But for what aspects of your business do you not want them to make business decisions is critical. And that understanding is critical, that you need to have the right people who will come and tell you, listen, you need to do a return policy. This is a legal piece. You need to have somebody do AI supervision from legal. There is a business use case. You need a product manager to come and do AI supervision. So there's also requirement for you to train your businesses to understand that they're not being replaced. They are being given help so that they can respond faster, they can do more work, they can get more done, they can make more revenue. And I think that is where the conversation is usually stuck, because 90% people in that room are either scared they're going to be replaced, or they're worried that they are going to be blamed. So you have to have those conversations. You have to have the consultants in place to say, guys, here we are. We're here to train you. These people are here to do technical pieces, and they're going to develop the technical pieces for you. But as CX experts, we understand you're dealing with humans. We understand there are legal bodies that need to be addressed. We understand that products are going to go through changes. They're not going to always stay the same. Systems are going to break down, and somebody needs to intervene. 80% of your business problems are FAQ problems. And if you look at the stats in any business, that is what you're going to get. 80% of the questions that are being asked are repetitive, have simple solutions, and can be addressed with agentic. And then there's 20% where you put a railing in and you say, okay, when you see this happening, redirect it to humans, let the AI supervision come in, let them guide you through the force, and that gives you better results. It gets you better outcomes. It gives you more confidence within the system, and also everybody in your company has confidence as well. What you're seeing in that poll is a fear that is very human, and it has to be addressed in a human way. And I think that is where we are as consultants, where we're constantly trying to break that fear, because you cannot ask somebody to just implement an AI system without having that confidence that no, it will make the right decision when it's needed, and that requires a very human aspect to it and not an AI aspect to it. So that's where we are at right now.
Thank you very much, Steve. And Abdullah, if I can ask you the sort of similar question, I guess. It felt like that poll very much kind of adhered to one of your slides, i.e. the stage 1 and 2. We had 50% of people at kind of stage 1 and 2.
Exactly.
You talked about getting people to stage 3 and 4.
Yeah, exactly. But let me just comment on Zoya's points. I agree with her and what she mentioned, and I want to elaborate and on the replacement part, because what we've seen is what she actually mentioned is the customers who are using our AI agent to basically to handle the resolutions end to end are now redeploying their customer support agent to be an auditors, basically to watch on these actions to make sure things are running smoothly. And so the fear of being replaced, I would say maybe it's not being looked at it in a very comprehensive way. AI definitely will optimize a lot of processes. It will make processes more efficient, definitely, but it's not necessarily on the expense of people. You can increase your productivity as a company with AI agents with the same number of people. Now, going back to your question, so yes, exactly. This is why I mentioned in the slide that most organizations are stage 1 or 2, and I agree with Zoya. There's a fear, psychological fear of basically letting go. Actually, it's more about control. We as a human, we love to be in control, and now we're passing this control to be. I'm going to say creature, but something that we are not sure yet how it thinks, something new. So it is understandable. That's why exactly what I said in the presentation and our way of doing things, and which I really recommend, is that invest, but as an experiment in very high, low risk use cases. But just put your foot in the water. Just try one use case that is very low risk. Use case that you can afford, that things might go not 100% right. Just try, and from there, if you see the results and you're happy with what you see and you're confident, then that's when you add, again, not full autonomy, add another use case. And always remember that you can have gates, as Qaisar mentioned, which is a very important point from Qaisar, is that you have the ability to structure and to architect in the way that you see fit, and in a way that LLMs are probabilistic, which means that they can make decisions not following decision tree. But in the decisions that you are scared about, not confident about, we can make sure that it follows a deterministic outcome, which is an outcome that human would actually follow, like a decision tree, if this, then that. So there are ways to handle this. So my advice is, if you are afraid and you want to resist change, you're going to be disrupted. So it's not an option. And that's another thing that we need also to agree on. It's not an option. It's like living before the internet age and saying, you know what, I don't want to put my data online because I'm afraid of data breach. So I'm going to have just a brick and mortar store. I'm not going to have an e-commerce. Okay, you can do that, but what's going to happen? You're going to be irrelevant in a few years. And with agentic AI, with the speed of advancement, and with the tangible ROI, the very high ROI, and we're talking about 8x, sometimes in less than 1 year. A lot of companies will adopt. A lot of leaders will adopt. You will be the last one to adopt. What does that say about you, organization? What does they say that about you? So my advice is, put your foot in the water. Just one use case. Just try, and then from there, you have the choice whether to expand or not.
Thank you, Abdullah. And John, if we may sort of get a practitioner perspective, based on your current operations, John, where does the biggest friction for you lie between AI handling the conversation and actually resolving the issue? What conditions would need to be met for you to trust an AI agent to close cases autonomously, John?
Anyways, thanks all for giving me the opportunity. I just wanted to give you a perspective, since for us, since I work for one of the largest real estate luxury developer. Can you hear me all?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Great. So I think from DMARC perspective, AI is not a future concept for us. We're already embedded across the real estate life cycle. And here we're talking about a developer that's already handed over 50,000 units, both in terms of communities and in terms of buildings, and another 50,000 at stake to be handed off because we are an off-plan. We're an off-plan real estate developer. For us, we have a dedicated team of AI that's already built into the system for the last 12 to 18 months. We work closely with the business. So tools and technology doesn't mean much unless we're making sure that the problem statement, the use case is something that we're really looking at very closely. Because for us, what really matters from an AI perspective is we're not looking at stitch cap solutions, but we're looking at the entire value chain. When a customer comes in, right from, trying to identify a unit, the guy must be sitting in China, he's sitting probably in UK or US in different parts. We give a very seamless opportunity for him to actually interact and connect with us. Now, how do we really leverage this? In fact, I can give you a bit of sneak peek in what we have done in the Mac. I think Abdullah, Zoya, and Kaisar actually did provide great insights, and I think Abdullah has a very deep view. I think he's a practitioner. He believes a lot in that. 5 years ago, DAMAC as a luxury service provider, we were doing about 5 billion worth sales. And now at 25, we've locked about 38 billion dirhams worth sales, and we are the number 2 developer in the region. Now, what does it actually mean? I mean, more unit sale, more customers don't mean more complaints. More of these customers do not mean that we end up having more FTEs. The cost of running these operations have to be very agile, and that's where we're looking at AI playing a very, very important role for us. Now, again, if I take just collections, I'm just going to run through the numbers for you exactly. So we don't wait actually for customers to tell what the problems are. We've gone into a situation where our platform actually identifies, AI triggers the service request that needs to go probably to a vendor, go ahead, actions out the work order, gets the problem solved, and the resolution is updated straight to the customer. So 3 years ago, if we had about, let's say, 20,000 odd tickets and service requests coming our way, we're down to about 2,000 odd service requested tickets. So we moved away from reactive to becoming proactive because AI now is not just problem or saying hi, I've understood the problem, but it actually does a workflow, goes into the right functions, raises the request, follows up, solves it, and actually sends our confirmation back to the customer. And if I just take a minute just to let you know in terms of what we have done in our collections department. So if I told you that our sales was close to 38 billion, so in terms of our accounts receivable, every month we're looking at about 1 to 1.4 billion in terms of collectible. Now, is it possible for us to keep increasing our human agents? No. Our collection split, if you really look at it, 15% of our collection is fully autonomous. So on a 1.2 billion dirham portfolio that we collect, 15% is fully autonomous. Another 20% basically is AI plus human collaboration, where we actually see intersections where sometimes digital and AI, and then a bit of human touch. And then, of course, then there is this deeper buckets where we call bad payers, where we manage them with another 30 to 35%, which is human. Now, what is our numbers that we're looking at? If you really look at it, our DSO, which is the daily sales outstanding, which is a very key metric to ensure we have cash flows. From a 75 days sales outstanding, we've dropped down to 25 to 30 days sales outstanding. Our tickets have dropped from 22,000 to about 2,500. We've been able to really be able to crack even in the uncertain times, ensuring that the good payers continue to pay even before the invoices are generated. We give them nudge, rewards, loyalty points, so that we continue to sustain our AI model. So that's where we are. Just collections is just one area. We've got land acquisition, we've got construction engineering, we've got handover, we've got community management. So it's a real end-to-end life cycle that we can touch upon.
Thank you, John. And Kaiser, Abdullah said, if you can onboard people, you can onboard an agent because they're effectively digital stuff. John said that you have to consider the entire value chain. Are these the sort of two key parts of this? It is a staff member. They can be trained, but you have to think about where it's all going to sit in the complete holistic picture.
Yeah, that's exactly that. So like you would onboard a digital member, you need to give it the right information. And that's actually something that we see. So to extend on that point, we see that when we engage with our customers, they have a workflow and a system that is not, let's say, agentic native, right? So almost every single customer that we work with, it's addressing not just the CS part, but the whole value chain. So we actually have to work with them as consultants and make their new workflow agentic ready. So it's not just going in and replacing, let's say, the human with the, or let's say replacing like a process with an AI agent. No, it's actually working with their CS team and working with their experts to create a new flow that involves the human agents and the agentic AI, and it's much more efficient to do it in this way. So that's certainly something that we see in every single customer that we go to. And then you have to look at an end-to-end holistic view of it, not just the AI agent part. So hopefully that kind of addresses the point. And then with regards to, just want to again touch on the human agents as well. If we have now this newly designed agentic workflow that actually shifts, to Abdullah and Zoya's point, that shifts the responsibility of the human agents. The human agents can actually now start working on, to Zoya's point, the 20% of the really complex cases that are outside of the AI agent scope, that gives them the ability to work and focus on that, and then also supervise the agent. And that's part of the platform that you see a lot being built by customers across the AI agent platform world, that they allow the ability for audit trails and for investigation and forensics. So hopefully that answers the question.
Thank you very much, DKZ. And look, thank you very much for all of your questions which are coming in on the chat. Much appreciated. Let's have a little dip into those now. So we have a question. Could the existing system architecture hinder the implementation of autonomous LLM solutions? And what are the most effective strategies to address this challenge? Could the existing system architecture hinder the implementation of autonomous LLM solutions? And what are the most effective strategies to address this challenge? Abdullah, do you want to take a sort of first stab at that?
Yeah. So I always say that as long as they are human doing the work, AI agent can do the work as well. So as long as these systems are in place in a way that human can do the work and they can navigate through those systems, AI agents can. So you don't need to do architectural changes. There are some, I wouldn't say changes, but there are some things that you need to provide to AI agent to be able to do that. But you don't need to change what you have in place. That's another reason why these technologies are amazing, and that's why these agentic solutions are being adopted very fast in across the world, because it's intelligence. It would know how to navigate these systems. You just need to plug them in a very secure way and make sure that there is no data leaks, and you need to plug them in the right way, and it will work. So for strategies, you just need to work with the right partner that understand basically how to do this, and to make sure that you as a decision maker, that you really sponsor this project. And that's another point. This is not a technology project. It's a business transformation. And for these things to happen, you need to enable this autonomous agent to be really connected and have the real data to feed, to learn, and to be able to go and work. If you just pass this project and mandate down the line to other people, believe me, they're not going to take it. So the strategy is human strategy, is not really from technology perspective, and no major changes should be needed.
Thank you very much indeed. We have another question here. I think sort of probably for all of you, actually, this one, from Christian. How do you ensure the customer's perspective view is being considered with designing and setting up the agentic AI? How do you ensure that the customer's perspective / view is being considered when you're designing and setting up the agentic AI? John, this must be something you've sort of gone through recently. How do you do it?
So I think, so basically, more than waiting for a customer, I think we from the transformation office, since we've been driving a lot of projects with our stakeholders vendors, and our end customers, we use the concept of design thinking, stepping into their shoes and trying to actually envisage how the journey would look for from us. So we have synthetic use cases, we have real use cases. We also actually look at design thinking in such a way that we're factoring about a good 80 to 90% of the scenarios that we forecast and preempt. Now, there's no better way than for the actual customer interactions to be looked into, because we clearly see the issue is not around the use of agentic AI. But I think the whole difficulty, for example, at least for us from real estate perspective, each of these value chains have different types of systems that we operate as well. Now, for example, the Salesforce basically becomes the front end in terms of customer management, but the entire financial aspect of getting an invoice generated, getting the payments, updating the payments, and the statement of account sits in the Fusion, which is the financial system. And then you have basically other enterprise apps and systems where we have data flowing in. For example, asset management in a community is basically we do it through a CAFM system. So I think what's important is the aggregator layer for us to be able to integrate these ERPs and the tools and the systems into, and being able to have the use cases go through a stress test where we're able to see, have I understood the customer issue? Preempt the customer issue so that we don't have to wait at the call center or wait at a customer happiness center for us to really wait at the reactive side. So the predictive side is where we actually bring in the AI. For example, I know in collections that if a customer hasn't paid his invoice within 30 days of the invoice being due, 30 days becomes a trigger for me to continue to watch this guy closely, because my risk analytics says that a good payer would probably missed seeing an invoice, probably he's traveling. But a 30 to 60 day bucket and a 60 to 90 day bucket gives me different trigger points where I use AI to be able to predict and say, what's the predictability of a guy becoming a good payer, turning to a bad payer, and a bad to a good payer. So I think for us, data plays a key role. The aggregator of a PECA kind of a system coming in to understanding the CX element really helps us to work on scale on some of these use cases.
Thank you very much.
Adam, if I may, I want to also
Yes,
touch
of
on this point. Actually, before anything, I really would love to thank the person who asked, because this is what CX is to think about customer. So over that person, I would love to know his name, because I want to thank him after this call, because we should think about customers, and because we're building these technologies at the end of the day for the customer. So that's the most important question. And for the way that we are thinking about it at Lucidya, being in this field for 10 years, serving, giving technologies for our customers and serving more than 75 million experiences for people in the Middle East, is, from what we know from all these years, customer, they care about 3 things that became 4 in the last 10 years. The first 3 things is, from a customer perspective, they want the issue to be resolved fast, accurate, and with empathy from the organization. And the 4th thing that are emerging in the past 10 years is basically with data privacy, so that their data don't be exposed to any harm. So as long as you as an organization is taking all this into account, you are developing an agentic solution that solves the issues fast, with accuracy, empathy, and with data, right data governance and compliance, then that's what the customer really cares about.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed, Abdullah. Now we have another question here, and let me just, Christian Velton, by the way, was who asked that last question, Abdullah, about the ensuring the customer's perspective of view is being considered. We have another question here from Vijay Kumar Bacha. He says, in physical retail environments like malls, where variables are dynamic and less structured than e-commerce, how do you see autonomous AI adapting to drive operational excellence and customer experience? Zoya, how do you fancy taking a first stab at this one?
So I think very interesting question, and I think that's the beauty of working. I mean, as much as I enjoyed working in one business only, working in consultancy allows you to work at so many dynamic variables, right? And so I think the beauty here is that you need to understand that inputs is what drives the agentic. It's not self-generating information. So the more variables that you provide to the agentic, the faster it's able to create resolution for you. And it works operationally pretty much the same way that an individual would work, right? In any solution, when you're creating variables, even the human is calculating what each step will result in. Now, when you place agentics here, what they're able to do is make that calculation faster and allows you to make decisions proactively, which is something that John has been talking about now. The customer wants to be responded to faster. I don't need 3,000 tickets when I could have 50 tickets, because 2,000 out of those were actually resolvable based on the basic variables. The other thing that we also work with a lot is called DART system. Now, the DART system, which works with logistics, takes varying factors. Like, for example, let's say you want to get something delivered to a location. The DART system agentics are able to then locate warehousing, what has the stocks available, where, how far away are they from your coordinates, who is available right now, who can take that delivery, collect those variables, and what we call a DOM in any ERP system, whether it's Microsoft Dynamics, whether it's Salesforce, whether it's Adobe, they pass that back to the DOM, and the DOM processes how the order needs to be fulfilled and the logistics need to be filled. So what you're doing is you're using the agentic to take variables and get the best solution possible in that particular moment. For a human to do that would take a lot longer, because by default, our brains work in a way where I know, okay, if I need to get a delivery at XYZ position, I need to focus on this location and this warehouse. And sometimes variables change, and they change very dynamically. So when you place agentics in this calculation and still have your AI supervisors ensure that the decisions are being taken based on business requirements, you actually end up making faster decisions, better decisions that have human intervention. Like I think everybody on the panel has been saying, there is always going to be a 20-30% involvement of humans intervening, giving signals, giving variables, and also making business decision and impact decisions that a lot of the agentic doesn't know, because they change day in and day out. You don't expect them to know this, right? So I think of it as something that helps you when you're making a very complex mathematical solution. You could do it on an abacus, which is a great tool, and which is what calculators came out from, right? Or you could go to a calculator and type it out, and it will give you a faster result. So you actually have to think of it as a tool. I think that is the biggest challenge also when you talk to most of the people. I think everybody would agree, is people start thinking this is a replacement instead of thinking this is a tool. This is a tool to enable you to make faster, better, more articulate decisions, instead of thinking of it as, oh, I'm going to give the variables and move away from it, and it's going to make decisions on its own. That is not how agentic works. Agentic fast tracks decisions that you would take longer to make and enables you to do more than you were able to do before. That is essentially the context. So no matter how many variables, you should be able to make those decisions faster and better. And that is what the agentic is there to do. It's not to replace you, but to be a tool to make faster, better decisions.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. And let's, Keza, if we can put the same question to you from Vijay. In physical retail environments, Keza, what's kind of your perspective on this, like Miles, where variables are dynamic and less structured than e-commerce? How do you see autonomous AI adapting to drive operational excellence, and customer experience?
Yeah, so actually, I would look at it as more of a channel problem, right? So more often than not, we see that what are the prime channels that customers are using? Are they using WhatsApp? Are they using email, phone? And voice is a very big channel right now. So I think that's where, again, how agentic AI is forming is the actual interface of agentic AI is going to be adapting over time as well. So really to kind of extend on Zoya's point, it's not so much around in the industry, really. It's around understanding the problem statement. So even in e-commerce, right, there are very complex problems and very simple problems. And in actually we've been speaking to a mall provider, so we actually know of one of the use cases, and they're the same thing. It's really kind of understanding what the problem statement is and understanding what the variables are in more detail, and then design. So most of the time that we when you're thinking of an agentic system, it's 80% of the time, I would say, or 70% of the time is actually really understanding the problem statement rather than the solution. So that's the the more you understand the problem and the more you go into the details, the more clear the solution becomes. And then you build the agentic AI or your AI system, use it with that insight in mind. So I think where we see a lot of mistakes happening in the industry is where people have not fully understood the problem statement and jump into an agentic platform or agentic solution. And that's something that, again, Abdullah touched upon. It's around the domain expertise, right? It's around understanding the domain, not only going into it as a tech problem, but as a business problem.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. And John, we're just sort of, very much kind of coming to an end. We've about a minute left in this session. If you look at that move from kind of reactive support to autonomous AI execution, it's not just a technology decision, is it? What internal concerns, approvals, what change management steps did you have to go through, John, to get to where you are now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mostly where leaders, probably N-1, N-2, always gets to wonder whether this is a replacement versus, enhancing and improving their own productivity and their own working capacity. I think there's been a lot of resistance initially while those edge cases were being looked at. But today, I think given the markets in terms of the challenges that we are faced with, I think probably retention of employees to doing the core jobs rather than doing the repetitive ones. I think people have started realizing that value is actually better off. So if I give you a small example of a project manager, if he needs to do a consulting assignment where he's working with the business to bring in a solution or to improvise a certain platform, even from building a RFP, a request for proposal, from getting the responses and then analyzing the responses and building an MSA and an SOW, which sometimes is very time consuming, can actually get done, with these AI tools and inventions coming in where weeks turn to days and days turn to hours and minutes. So probably, I think we, as a developer, I think we have now reached a phase where people are reaching out to transformation office saying, hey, listen, we just don't want business process re-engineering. We're looking at embedding AI to be able to turn around. Now, one of our funnels that we look at is basically the sales funnel, right? Where we start with lead qualification. Now, the whole thing can take you, it's so laborious, so tedious. Today, with the AI coming in clearly there, the AI captures the leads from different channels. It could be web, could be WhatsApp, could be the broker channel or campaigns. Scores are, the intent is scored basis the behavior and the demographics. We engage instantly with the customer, do chat and voice, recommend the pricing of the unit, the location of the unit, and even actually suggest payment plans. And absolutely doing a site visit booking and pushing them into sales. Today, we've been able to demonstrate to our own internal stakeholders that this whole thing can actually turn around where your 12-month sales can also be pushed within 3 months. And therefore, that's how a 5 billion revenue turned out to be 38 billion revenue, because not of human intervention, but bringing in tech and AI at the right intersection to help enable. So for us, I'm a clear practitioner. My job is to ensure that I'm able to actually influence the people around us and improve the throughput and not look at it just as a tool or a technology. And we've been quite successful in what we're doing.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you, John. Thank you, panel. Have a great rest of the day. It was lovely to speak to you, and take care. Speak to you again soon. Thank you very much indeed. So thank you to Abdullah Asiri, Kaiser Khan, Zoya Shahid, and John George. We are heading towards the finish line now. The perfect time then to get some final thoughts from you. So we're going to put up one more poll. What would make you say yes to a pilot? You should see that poll on your screen now. What would be the strongest reason for your team to start a pilot with government AI agents? A, reduce cost to serve and workload quickly, within 90 days. B, improve SLA performance and time to resolution. C, better governance, auditability, and risk control. D, scale without hiring, so for example, a capacity increase. or E, to improve customer experience consistency across channels? So we're going to give you just a couple of seconds to click that on. What's the kind of perfect reason for you to trial, to run a little pilot on one of these things? Is it A, reduce cost to serve and workload quickly? B, improve SLA performance and time to resolution? C, better governance, auditability and risk control? D, scale without hiring? E, improve customer experience consistency across channels? Now, that poll is closed, and we're going to look at those results and get some reflections on everything we've heard today from Abdullah Asiri. Hello, Abdullah. Hey, how are you, sir? That's been a really kind of fascinating conversation for me so far. What have been the sort of highlights for you, Abdullah?
So the main one is that we talked about the resolution and how important is that companies, they focus on resolving issues, not only to handling conversation. And that successful resolution is the main factor to increase the main KPIs for companies from NPS to CSAT, which drives also retention, because actually investing in the right technologies, according to Gartner, it improves retention by 25%. So, and we talked about majority of companies, they invest in AI. But the question is, are they investing in AI to automate conversations or to automate the whole resolution? And that's the key question. And that's a determining factor of how fast the ROI is and how high the ROI is, and whether the company will stay behind or will be ahead in the competition.
Let's have a quick look at those results. You talked a lot about, people should give a kind of give a pilot a go. Let's see what people have said, the reasons for it, where they would. So what would be the strongest reason for your team to start a pilot with governed AI agents? Better governance, auditability, and risk control, 0%. We got 20%, so a lovely even split actually across three of them. Improve customer experience consistency, across channels, scale without hiring, and reduce cost to serve and workload quickly. But number one reason for the people on this at this event today, improve SLA performance and time to resolution. Does that kind of resonate, Abdullah, with sort of what you see more widely?
Yes, because the audience are CX leaders. They mainly care about SLAs and performance, and this is the most bugging part of the business. Is you have large number of team. It's really headache to manage all these team members, to navigate between all these issues. And it's number one determining factor. It's the leading indicator for the business performance. So it is expected, and I'm glad that there's no one voted for better governance, which means that now they're trusting that there is the solutions that they give this type of governance. But this is expected, and I'm glad that we see these results.
Fantastic stuff. And before we go, any kind of final thoughts from you?
So. Final thought first is thank you for everyone to come in this lovely day, and it's the question again is about where do we invest. The question is about whether we invest in the future or invest in the past. We should put the customer point of view in front of us all the time, as the CX leaders, and since customers, they want their issues to be resolved in a very fast, accurate, and empathetic way, we should all work toward that. And remember, investing in AI automation would result in improvement of up to 25% in customer retention. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much indeed, sir, and hope to speak to you again soon. Thank you. Take care. Well, look, thank you to Abdullah Asiri. Right, one last poll. It should be on your screen now. It is about this event. Please do fill it out. It is very short indeed. Thank you to Abdullah Asiri and to our expert panelists, Kaiser Khan, Zoya Shahid, and John George. But mostly, thank you for joining, for connecting in the chat, for asking questions, for bringing this event to life. Agentic AI is changing the customer experience, dramatically so. There are operational hurdles to overcome in the transformation journey. There are real dangers in legacy processes and legacy thinking, and there will be new risks. Of course, this all requires new approaches, new investments, and the development of new skills, but it will be worth it because the payoff is a whole new world of incredible opportunities for customer experience innovation. We hope this event has given you some inspiration. Please do fill in the final feedback form. It's on your screen now. If you can't wait to learn more, feel free to reach out to Lucidya directly. They'll be more than happy to provide further help or advice. But from the team here for now, goodbye.